One, not quite. Got to turn it on.
There we go.
We could have done that. Just tell me the angle. Okay. You all good now? Okay. So we appreciate the media being here today. It's about 3:15 on the 17th, a couple of days post Sally coming ashore. Yesterday I had an opportunity to fly in a Coast Guard helicopter with Chief Jeremy Lamy and Chief Lawrence Batiste to survey some of the damage in the city of Mobile, plus our coastlines in the south part of the county and in parts of Baldwin County. After doing that, it's very apparent that we're very fortunate that Mobile did not take a direct hit. If you look at the damage to the east of us, it's truly devastating. Not that we don't have incredible damage, but over there it's absolutely heartbreaking. The biggest issues that we're dealing with today have to do with power outages, traffic, and questions really about the curfew. Curfew is not really an issue, it's just something that we're dealing with. Yesterday was one of those days when there were so many unknowns out there that we were chasing every call that we had, trying to determine and identify problems and challenges and opportunities. Well, today we know a whole lot more, than what we knew yesterday. And so here in a couple of moments, I'm going to give the chiefs as well as Colonel Jim DeLapp an opportunity to talk about public works. This morning, I had an opportunity to visit with Alabama Power Company, and since the power outages are the number one thing, a concern on everybody's mind, yesterday we reported somewhere between 160,000 and 166,000 customers that they had with power outages, which was really an unprecedented number for a situation where the city of Mobile didn't take a direct hit. Well, being unprecedented, they're also doing some things that are unprecedented. Now, yesterday, the power company could not go to work really until about 5 o'clock, between 5 and 6 o'clock, because of the winds. It's just against their protocols to operate when you have winds approaching 30 miles an hour. So today is the first day when they have really been able to do the work that they are really good at. And they've reduced the number of power outages as of 45 minutes ago to 101,000 from the 160+ thousand. I told you about visiting with them earlier this morning. I went to a site. They've got 4 sites in Mobile where they are bringing all their assets in from all over the country, contractors, other power companies, to help them in assisting getting your power turned back on. Tonight, they will have a city stood up. I'll call it a mini city. It'd be like something you would see the Army do, but they'll have about 3,000 people working in Mobile by either tomorrow night or certainly by Saturday morning. Tonight at that one location down in the Theodore area, there'll be 1,800 people that they will be feeding and sleeping all on this one site. And to see the talk about it, because what happens when when a tree loses its foliage, it loses the ability for photosynthesis, which gives the tree energy. You combine that with compacted roots because of the foot traffic that we've allowed over the years, and you combine that with too many trees located in one location, you have a very unhealthy situation. I know the trees in Beale Square are near and dear to my heart, and I know that people love to feed the squirrels, but with the amount that we've lost several trees, there is no foliage, so the number of squirrels that we've got, I'm not sure exactly what the game plan going forward is, but we're going to have to do something differently than what we've been doing in the past, but that's minor compared to what we've got to do is restoring your power and getting your yards cleaned up, you getting your yards cleaned up and us getting the streets cleaned up. But I just wanted to tell you that that is something that really stuck out to us yesterday. So having said that, getting us to that point, I want to call on Chief Jeremy Lamey with Fire Rescue to make a few remarks about what Fire Rescue has been doing. And he'll be followed by Chief Batiste.
Good afternoon. As far as with the Mobile Fire Rescue Department, first of all, we just want to say that we empathize with all the citizens of Mobile. Not only are most of the citizens impacted, but we have a lot of first responders that live throughout the community and are impacted as well. It's been an extremely busy day, multiple days for us, but we've been able to handle it, and our people have done a phenomenal job responding to all the calls and requests for service out there in the community. Obviously, our busiest time point was from the 15th on 9/15 at about 2300 till 11 a.m. on 9/16. Basically, when the storm was starting to impact the city of Mobile, we started to see the tropical force winds and then eventually hurricane force winds, and then there shortly after it made landfall. In that time period, we had 221 incidents that occurred in the city of Mobile, with 352 apparatus that responded to those. And the unique thing that we want to talk about today is the fact that there was multiple structure fires and multiple rescue situations that were happening throughout the city all at one time. So these were not just calls for service regarding down power lines or down trees. Our personnel were literally using chainsaws to cut people out of homes where the trees have collapsed and had them pinned on their beds inside their residence while they were sleeping. So the fact that nobody was hurt, none of our first responders were hurt, and the fact that none of the citizens were killed is simply mind-boggling. So we're very thankful. We're very thankful for that. We also have continued to provide all of the services to the city throughout this time period, and throughout the weekend we will maintain higher than normal staffing levels to make sure that our first responders who are tired, who are exhausted, have enough help to continue to protect the citizens of Mobile. So, does anybody have any questions?
We'll wait to do questions in a moment.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to reiterate something that the mayor and the county commissioner said yesterday to the citizens of the city of Mobile. Please be patient with us. We have been extremely blessed that we were spared the brunt of the storm here in the city of Mobile. So we're going to ask for your patience. Since we began this operation on the 15th of September, the Mobile Police Department has answered nearly 2,500 calls for service. During that same time period, we've assisted Public Works and the fire department with addressing down trees, approximately 300 calls of either down trees or power lines here in the city. And on our major intersections, there are about 79 different locations with either flashing lights or no powers at those intersections. And every one of those intersections are being manned that we can get manpower to with individuals that can address traffic flow through those locations. Hence, me asking you to be patient, because we cannot work one of those intersections with just one individual. We have to have at least 2 to 3 individuals. So if I tell you 79 different locations, you do the math. It won't take very long for us to be able to have manpower out there, and we won't be able to answer the rest of the calls for service that we have. Also during that same time period, a good news story is this, our animal shelter had nearly 100 pets in it at the time the storm was projected to hit. We were able to safely evacuate all of the pets that were in the shelter. Currently, there are 25 pets in the shelter. We were able to keep them safe as the water began to rise near and around that area. So I am thankful for the work that the animal shelter did, as I am thankful for the work that the men and women Mobile Police Department did, as they had to leave their families to address this situation and go back home to either no power or to down trees in their residence as well. So again, please be patient with us as a city. We're doing everything we can to make sure that we can be operational and you can have the creature comforts that you need as we move forward.
So at this time, Colonel Jim Delap will be talking about Public Works and the cleanup effort that'll be coming in, forthcoming in the next near term as well as the long term. So Colonel Delap.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. We're very blessed to not have the storm track as we initially anticipated with the amount of flooding that we were planning, but that doesn't mean there weren't damages here in the city. But because we didn't have the flooding damages that we anticipated, we're able to focus our efforts on the wind damages that were caused. And the biggest impact of that is all the downed trees. To date, we know of well over 300 trees that have been downed, and we've also mitigated about 100 of those so far. That doesn't mean that they're completely cleared away. It means we've gotten them out of the way, mostly in the roadways, particularly our main avenues. A lot of secondary routes and neighborhoods have not been addressed yet, but will be here shortly. To compound that, many of the trees are intertangled with power lines. That's why we have so many power outages. Before our crews can remove those trees, we have to do that in coordination with Alabama Power, and they've been a great partner in making sure we get in there to remove, make sure the lines are dead before our crews get in there so they don't touch any live wires and get themselves injured as we remove the trees. In addition to that, we're going to be working on picking up all this debris. Once we get the debris cut up and people start to get it out of their yards, pushed to the curb, we have the big task of picking that up over the coming days and weeks. Our crews, our trash crews, really don't have the capacity to remove all of the debris that we're seeing out there right now, particularly this large vegetation debris. Because of that, the city's mobilized its contract. We have a contract in place for these types of situations with a debris contract removal company, and they've been mobilized. They're on the ground now, and they'll start the pickup efforts this coming Monday. They'll do that in coordination with our own trash department, but the key point on this that I really need to stress is that the debris has to be separated. Our debris contractor will focus on all the vegetation debris. That's all the tree limbs, trees, branches, etc. Our normal trash crews will focus on all the other items. That's construction debris, household debris, and those items, as well as anything that's bagged. So if you bag leaves or trees or branches, those will be going with the household debris. They cannot take the bags to the point where they'll consolidate the debris, grind it, and further dispose of it. So we ask the citizens of Mobile, if you could please, in your efforts to clean up your areas and your yards and your businesses, if when you move that debris to the curb, please help us out to try and separate the vegetation from all the other debris. That will help get the debris picked up much quicker, much more efficiently, so that everyone can have the mess that's out there today cleared as quickly as possible. As I said, that'll start Monday with the trash pickup and the debris pickup. Our garbage pickup has already started back. Those that missed pickup on the previous days will have makeup days. Those that missed pickup on Tuesday will be picked up on Saturday, and those that missed their pickup yesterday will be on Monday. So our garbage service is back and running. The last thing I'll ask is, as our public works crews are out there doing all the hard work, as well as our contract support, you'll see a lot of folks on the streets, in the areas, with our contractors, with Alabama Power. We ask that you be courteous to the teams as they're working out there in the streets. All of them should have their vests on and everything, but please be slow when you're going around them. Be on the lookout for our workers. A lot of them will be in areas where they could easily be hit by traffic, so please be courteous and think safety when you're around our crews out working, so that we don't have anyone injured while we're doing this big effort to clean up. We appreciate the citizens' support in that. Mayor?
Well, a reminder, yesterday we made a comment, maybe put it out on social media, having to do with anybody needing a blue tarp that you should call, or needing social services, please call 211. You always have a learning experience, or something is revealed to you in a crisis like what we've just gone through. And we've developed, or not developed, we've started using a tool that we will put out through social media, maybe through Nextdoor and some other, maybe Facebook, but it will be an interactive map or a real-time map showing you that we have identified trees that are down or power lines that are down. And when I say it's real-time, it's like if you have called and identified, or our police officers or firemen have said, responded back to, let's say, our operator, and we have posted it on this map, it will show that there's a downed tree. Now, if our crews have gone in and done something with that downed tree, it'll show that the problem has been mitigated. That does not mean that they've completely removed all the debris, but it's no longer in the way. This is just a step in a process that will be evolving. We have some new software that we'll be incorporating in the coming months that when the next crisis occurs, hopefully we'll be able to have quicker and better and more organized response. In every storm, there's a couple of phases. One is that anticipation phase of what's going on, people getting ready, and then you have the storm itself. And our first responders, they're teeing up in anticipation. They're out there calling when the storm hits, and there's another storm that follows. And that's when you're out in your yard cleaning up, you got a chainsaw, you've got some kind of implement, and you cut yourself, you hurt yourself, you strain your back, and all of a sudden our first responders are having to go back and try to help you. Please be careful. I mean, really, just be careful. Be very thoughtful about what you're doing, especially if you're using a chainsaw. The other part of that being careful has to do with just the vehicular traffic right now. I mean, as I've driven around town, if you have intersection where there's no policeman and there's a traffic light that is not working, the protocol is that you should pull up and stop. And if you're the first one to stop, you go first. But otherwise, you let the person that was already stopped go ahead of you. And you see invariably 5 or 6 people, piling through there. Well, that's going to lead to a bad outcome. We really need your help. We're not talking but about 3 or 4 more days of this. So please be thoughtful of your fellow man and our traffic personnel. I think that we're in a really good place. If you think about having 3,000 Alabama Power Company people out and about servicing, trying to get your power restored, you think about 500 firemen, 500 policemen. I mean, you have a lot of people, a lot of emergency personnel trying to make sure that you can stay safe and get back to work and do the things that you enjoy doing. So it's a good opportunity for us to continue to work together. It's very gratifying to ride through the neighborhoods and seeing people help each other, and that's what we're going to do, and that's how we're going to push through this. So I'll be glad to answer any questions that anybody may have.
I know that you said that power restoration was probably one of the top priorities. You talked about the manpower. How long do you think that's going to take? Or do they think days, or 3 or 4 days, or
Yeah.
weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, not weeks. No.
but days.
So the power company is very hesitant to say that, as far as giving you a date specific. This is my prediction. I think that by the end of the weekend, I would not be surprised if by the weekend there were no more power outages. The power company probably doesn't want me to say that. That is not them making a promise. That's me predicting where we will be. Make that very clear.
And I know that you guys sent a lot of people to Lake Charles, the fire department, as well as other personnel. How does it feel to see all that manpower come and help us?
It's just very gratifying. I mean, if you could see all these trucks pulling into these staging sites for the power company, it just makes you feel good. There's no other way to describe it. Because if we had to rely just on the resources that are available within Alabama Power Company without them reaching out, then it would be weeks or months, before you restored everything. But they're going to make it happen very quickly. Any other questions?
I know that yesterday the
So, you know, there's a threshold in the county, I think it's $1.7 million, if I remember right, that if you surpass that threshold, then you're eligible for the FEMA funding or the federal funding. We're going to far surpass that. I mean, we know that within the city, by the end of the day today, we'll have our initial estimates. We'll turn everything into the county, which I feel like that's what's going to happen with other municipalities. So we ought to be in good shape, and I think that we will receive that federal assistance.
We've gotten a lot of messages over just the last day. Some people who got pretty lucky and didn't see a lot of damage, and they're wondering how can they help, what should they do?
Well, we all just have a circle of influence, and it's typically in our neighborhood or our family or maybe our church or synagogue. I mean, what you need to do is reach out to the people that you know and just ask the same question that you just asked. I mean, from the position of administration, and I wish I could tell you just to call this one or that one, but then it would be overloaded. So just do the things that you're comfortable doing, reaching out to the people that you know, and then again, it's not unusual to, there's people that live on your street, wherever it may be, and you don't know who they are, and they've been your neighbor. It may be a good time to go meet them, you know?
And then as far as the curfew goes, how long is that? Are you guys expecting that to just last until we get power back or until we get more of a
So tonight the curfew will be from 9 to 6 instead of 7 to 6. And I would also say that it would take, the prediction is that we will have no curfew on Friday night. And I say prediction because unless something radically changes, we will not have a curfew on Friday night. But I want to hold back just a little bit and say that, you know, we didn't get quite as much done as I thought, and we need to continue Friday. But we're doing everything we can to make sure we don't have a Friday night curfew.
And then I guess I'll just ask my last one. We saw a few different accidents. I wasn't sure, Chief Batiste, if you might have any numbers for any accidents caused by the storm.
I don't have those numbers available right now, but I can get those for you.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you being here. Thank you, and y'all stay safe also. Appreciate it.